Welcome to Vegas Circle Podcast with your hosts, Paki and Chris. We are people who are passionate about business, success, and culture, and this is our platform to showcase the people in our city who make it happen. On today's podcast, we're going to be diving into an entrepreneur's wisdom on the real estate market, how he's built amazing relationships, and how he's built an exclusive club. Welcome into the circle, founder of the Robledo Group and Cigars Conversation. We got Mr. Rich Robledo, so I got to say it the right way.
Welcome.
So I'll tear his name up. I was going to call
you.
him Richardson before this. So, but thanks for joining the circle, brother. It's good to finally see you, man. Have you in the circle.
I appreciate it. I feel honored to be a part of that group list that you guys have that I see on social media. So I feel like I've arrived.
Yeah. Man, Rich
Definitely
knows
appreciate
everybody,
it.
man. This is the most humble guy, man. Everybody that I talk to about Rich, man, we're going to have him running for president, I think, for this year, man. He's the man. So, we'll get into that. So, but jumping right in, man. So you got an extensive, over 20 years experience in the real estate industry, built your brokerage. I know you had a prior company and rebranded, but what inspired the creation of the Robledo Group now, which is pretty fresh, right? In the last couple of months or so that you got rebranded?
Yeah, that was just rebranded. I shut my real estate brokerage down that I had for 12 years.
Okay.
Cut the final checks today for that.
Did you? Okay. Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
So
that was
another chapter.
A big step, right?
Okay.
Because of the relationships I've had in real estate, golf, and in the community, it's provided me a lot more opportunities. So quite a few people didn't know that I sold real estate because I do so many different things that I felt it was the right time for me to shut Acclaim. I brought over 5 key members for my team, which has allowed me, it was supposed to allow me more free time.
Got it.
However, when you have some free time, people just ask you to do more. So I've picked up 2 additional responsibilities since I shut down a real estate brokerage. So.
Okay. So yeah, that's a big challenge, man. So the real estate has just been absolutely crazy, man. I mean, what's your take on, or what do you think is going to happen, right, in Las Vegas, let's say, coming up on 2024, just because you've been in everything, from 2006, 2008, all the stuff we've dealt with. But what's your take on and perspective on what do you think is going to happen in Vegas this year?
We are going to become Los Angeles.
I agree with you.
Prices are continuing to increase. It used to be that if you sold a house in Vegas above $8 million, it'd make the newspapers, right? In the last 30 days, $25 million, $19 million off market, $12 million home sold.
Wow.
Jesus.
That's interesting.
Just in January, February, the last 30 days, yeah.
Last 30, 45 days, correct.
Jeez.
Are these like new builds, or the builds that are coming up for the second time around, and now you're seeing astronomical increases in value, or is it kind of, how's that happening?
One of them was the Prince of Brunei's home that was listed by Ivan
right.
Scher, right? That was an opportunity buy.
Yep.
Another one was an off-market deal in the Summit, and another one was in Ascaya. So the wealth starting to come to Vegas. We are becoming a tier 1 city. Right, so we've got all the major sports. Elaine Wynn is getting ready to build a world-class art studio, art museum in partnership with LA.
Oh wow!
There's rumors of us getting a children's hospital, right? So
That'd be
there's
huge.
a lot of things that we need to be tier 1 that we're gonna get. The issue is that the disparity between those who can and those who can't is gonna get bigger.
Yeah.
Right, because the massive amount of wealth is still starting to come. So,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of people that have bought houses in the last 5 years, sub 4% interest rates.
Yeah.
Yeah. You noticed a lot, right? Like during the pandemic, right? I mean, Chris and I talked about this a lot. It seemed like talking about LA or, the Bay Area, it seemed like everybody and their mom was moving here starting in 2020 because they were home, they were remote, you could work from home, you had these tech jobs and things like that, and you didn't have to report to the office. So it seems like they were buying 2 and 3 homes for like a 24-month, 28-month span. Is that what you kind of saw between Bay Area and Inland Empire, LA?
Yeah, you're seeing everybody come in, and you're seeing how busy McCarran Airport is, right?
Yes.
Not only did housing uptick dramatically, but if you look at other industries, the private jet segment has exploded because people don't want to go through TSA. Now they're seeing that their time is valuable, that they will rent jets or charter jets or buy jets to allow themselves to fly in the Southwest.
It's interesting you said it because we had Tom Smith on, remember, from SetJet, that he sells the private jets, you know, he sells the private hours, I should say. But I think if I remember correctly, they're building another airport, right, near south of M Resort, if I'm not mistaken, or it's been approved from the government, from my understanding.
So they've been working on that airport for 20 years, right? During the recession, they pulled it back.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
They pulled it back, and now because it is getting so busy, they're talking at like interior harbors, right? So they want to push all of the FedEx, the delivery stuff, to another airport, and also make that a place for delivery when they can remove the stuff from the Long Beach port, bring it into town, and then use it as a secondary port in Vegas.
And you're kind of seeing like, you know, they have like, you know, in the industry, the new home sales for the higher dollar amounts. I've heard that those have kind of maintained relative consistency, but then the lower value homes, you know, more entry level homes, you know, those have not trading at the same volume they were 2-3 years ago, obviously because of the interest rates being a lot higher. For somebody who owns a brokerage or in the real estate market, you know, how does that impact you and the people that you're working with when you just don't see that same volume of those entry level homes that are trading to be able to maintain a lifestyle for a lot of the agents?
Work with those who have cash.
Yeah.
Right. It is difficult. Last year in 2023, new home sales made up 45% of the sales. In a normal market, new homes should only be about 10%.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
You said 45.
45.
Jeez.
Is it because like they always work with you on your new home conversion interest rates, right? You could do buy downs and things of that nature that they're really soliciting that most people don't know about.
Yeah.
Correct. And you figure these new homes that are being finished now, the land was bought 2 or 3 years ago. And what's happened in the last 2 or 3 years, values have gone up. So the builders can offer you, keep the same price, but they'd offer you $30,000 towards closing cost. Prepay your mortgage so you have a lower interest rate to get in, because their profit is based off of numbers, what they were going to sell the houses on 2 or 3 years ago.
Got it. Yeah.
That's not a bad place to be.
No.
Yeah.
But you'll also see in the new market what you're starting to see in the first development, you know, just came out where there's rentals now for attached homes, $7,000.
Oh yeah, I did just see that. Like the there was like $7,900 rental market for single family home rentals, and I was like, what the heck? That's ridiculous.
It's unreal. So we are starting to turn it. I mean, I lived in LA for about 6 years in Inland Empire and went all the way around Orange County and everything, and that's why I'm in Vegas. And now you're starting to see, you know, that here, which I'm still excited about Vegas just because it's so small, so intimate. I mean, so much stuff we can do. I mean, we're spoiled here. Still, if you know, LA's still a drive. Are you frustrated with that too? Just because you've been here for a long time? Do you like the idea of it turning into LA? Or is that a pinpoint for you, or?
I fluctuate.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Because if you look at, like, I get asked often, what about F1? I said F1 was incredible.
It was, yeah.
For the casinos along the racetrack. The casinos that were off that strip struggled.
Good point.
The small businesses that were along the track struggled because they made it captive. Everybody was supposed to stay in the grandstands. I mean, the food was catered. There was, you know, different groups that were bringing in chefs from Austria to cater to their Austrian clients.
Yeah.
And then you figure the amount of wealth that was there was just ridiculous. But then what happened on Monday that nobody talks about? The human trafficking. 70 men were arrested, and I think they found 270 trafficked people.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that. That's wild.
No, I
Look
did
at
hear
it.
about that.
Yeah.
I did hear about that, yeah.
Yeah, it was it was the front page of the Review Journal the Monday after F1.
Yeah. Because Vegas is, I mean, it's one of the three triangle. I mean, from between here, Arizona, and San Francisco, if I remember correctly. So, no, I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, yeah.
And the number one sporting event for human trafficking is
Super Bowl?
correct.
I knew you were going to say that.
Jeez.
And from my understanding, we're going to be extremely, way busier than that. I mean, we already started to kick up right now this week. I mean, everything's starting Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yes.
So
Part of it, you have to kind of
Yeah.
be these Los Angeles. You have to be this next, tier one city, to your point earlier, to really be able to generate those type of entertainment venues, right? I was getting the NFL, I was getting baseball, and hopefully basketball soon. That you really do have to be a tier one city to get that. But then for us locals who've been here for 10, 15 years, that makes it a little harder to digest a little bit, because you see these nuances where now I'm feeling nervous about my kids attending it, because now we are more of a metropolis versus being just a home. Like it's very odd feeling to be in.
Yeah. So I don't get upset about it, Paki. I see it as an opportunity.
okay.
If we don't evolve, then we're going to become extinct.
Yep.
I can't complain about it. I can only adapt. And if I don't adapt, it's my fault. Right? So you always have to have that student's mindset. Where's the opportunity? Because chaos creates stars. So
agree.
you have to look at it like, okay, I can't complain about this. There's an opportunity in this. What is that opportunity? Is it finding development deals? Is it finding outreach to more wealthy people to come out to try to, provide a service for them? Am I providing more than just showing houses? What can I do for this client who's coming in, whether it's a restaurant reservation, golf tea times, nightclubs? I need to provide a 5-star experience so that it separates me from somebody who's only been in business for 5 or 10 years, or somebody who's been in business for 20 years and can't provide that expertise.
In your industry, it's important too, because like the higher it gets, right? Vegas is different than a lot of other major cities where we have a very finite available amount of land, right? We're all concentrated in this valley, whereas other places you could spread out pretty rapidly, depress rates a little bit. So here it's almost like in your industry, it's perfect. If you find a good land deal, if you find a good real estate value, holding it is going to continue to grow, because there's not running out of places to build, candidly. There's not a lot of opportunities there. So how do you position yourself to present yourself for the next 5, 10 years of that growth? Or is that something you think about now?
I'm thinking about that now, which was the perfect time to rebrand, look for different opportunities, but not just in Vegas, but also in Southern California, Utah, and Arizona.
Yeah. I want to step back just about mindset, because I know you're a big mindset guy. 2006, right? My understanding, you went through a big challenge, lost everything, the whole nine.
Yeah.
How did you deal with all of that and be able to get back to where you are at now? You know what I mean? That's a lot to deal with, to be able to lose everything and then still keep your head, and because I know you went through a lot there, period. Lost some people committing suicide, the whole nine. Can you share a little bit about that? Any insight?
Yeah. 2006, I lost it all. I had a company specializing in high-rise condos, and condos was the first sub-market to crash. 2008 was 2007 stock market. 2008 was REOs. 2000, right? That whole movie.
Crazy.
And I had 7 friends commit suicide. And I was blessed to have older mentors who walked me back. It's not your fault. It's a product of circumstances. We've never seen this before. Get up and continue to work, right? It's that routine. But it was, having that older mentorship say, hey, it's not your fault. We've never seen something like this. Put one foot in front of the other. Continue to do the right things. What else can you do besides, just real estate, like property? That's when I got into property management.
Yep. We talked about that.
I had, I had a guy that was in a large condo in Park City, and he asked me, and I'll never forget
Park
it.
City, Utah?
Park City, Utah. And he goes, are people making money in real estate? And I said, I'm not. He goes, I'm not asking if you are. I said, are people still making money? And I said, yes. He goes, why did you get into real estate? I said, to help people. He goes, don't bleep and lie. I said, I got into real estate to make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what
He
it
goes,
was.
are people still making a lot of money? I said, yes. He goes, so if the why is the same, why would you get out?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Good
That's a
point.
good way of thinking about it.
You've got to figure out a different way to get to it. He goes, if you give up now, you've got a PhD in what not to do.
Love that. Yeah.
And
Love that.
he also told me, I'll never forget it. I told it to a friend of mine the other day. He goes, you were not like your friends. The friends you run with are trying to protect their wealth.
That's
You
powerful.
and your family, you need to create the wealth. And you cannot create while you're trying to protect, because one is offense and one is defense.
Got it. Yeah.
So kind of going
That's
through that
huge,
and,
yeah.
you know, dealing with those challenges. Now, you know, everybody kind of feels that we may be on a precipice of something similar, right? There's a lot of sense. A lot of things you read, you know, people are 50-50 on it.
Yeah.
But for the some person who, you know, is trying to prepare for that same type of situation, you know, here now, 2006 is obviously a different type of situation, but we know the economy ebbs and flows. So as somebody in your same situation who now looks to the future and sees that there may be something on the horizon that could be similar to what you dealt with in 2006, how would you position yourself to be able to prepare for that with that same mentality that you're a creator, so you're running first into it, but also you want to be mindful that you don't want to, you know, deal with that again?
Yeah.
What is the one thing that we can all control? Our expenses.
Got it. Not overspending. Yep. Budget.
Reduce your expenses, keep cash to jump on opportunities. What I did in the last downturn was I was full of fear, so I put my head in the sand, and all these opportunities went by me, and I saw my friends take advantage of the opportunities. So now, reduce expenses, stack cash, and keep your head up.
Love that. Yeah.
Right? It's just like if you're swimming in open water, you're always going to lift your head up just to see where you're kind of going after a couple of strokes.
That's interesting. Yeah. You know, I'm curious what your perspective on is Grant Cardone. Obviously, he drives a lot of traffic, big guy in the real estate perspective, but he's always talked about renting, right? You know, renting the home that you live in, and then the house that you might buy is something you would actually rent out. You talk about, you know, budget and things like that. Do you like that mindset of teaching people to maybe you rent something that you live in, and then maybe you invest in something that you buy, and you actually rent that house out that you buy? You like that concept, or?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you should own your home.
Yeah.
Right? I've got friends who total opposite.
Yeah.
Just rent it. Made $1 million on my house.
That says it right there. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And mentally, I believe I need to go somewhere I own for me to relax.
Yeah.
Got it.
Women nest, that's my castle.
I get it.
I've got a space just to do my meditation, my journal, right? I have that space that is mine and nobody else's.
Yeah. I knew you were going to have a different spin on everything. That's why I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah.
And then kind of backing up about being different, right? With people coming in, a lot of people moving to Vegas. You're amazing at building relationships, right? And I know that's something been huge for you. You know, like you said, building at the casinos and golf courses and all of that. What's been something strategic for you on how to build these alliances? Like what's your, I guess, your trick, or because it's not a sales, because you do it very genuine, right? And you're good at building relationships and you got friends with these folks. But what's a tip for maybe a listener that can't do that well? You know what I mean? What would you share with them?
It's difficult. It's not so much a trick.
Yeah.
I love helping people.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Right? Like if I can connect you with somebody to help you, I'm here to help you. Now, there's been certain relationships where they've helped and they've done really well together.
Yeah.
Right? And I've got friends on the outside. They're like, man, you need to monetize that.
You sound like you having our conversation.
We
were just talking about this. Yeah.
You just did this, and this, and
Yeah.
that came out of it. And I've always
1000%.
thought, like, well, how do I monetize that? But I believe, I went to Pinch's Tacos today.
Yeah.
I was there last Monday. The pozole was incredible.
Got
I
it.
met the owner, Javier. We connected. Boom. Friends on Instagram.
There
I
you
went
go.
back today, right? In order to have a relationship and provide value, you have to show up.
Love
And
that.
when you show up, you invite others to come.
Yeah. And you've done that extremely well. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I know we know a lot of the same group, but I mean, let's talk a little about Cigars and Conversation, right? You've done a hell of a job with that. There's events. I'm not just saying this. I've been to your event before. I want to say it's the elite of the elite, but it's who you invite there, and you're strategically placing, people in wide ranges of industries, business owners, real estate guys, might be, political, the whole nine, and people that are impacting where you might be raising foundations and things like that. I think Nevada Homeless Youth was there the last time. But what was the point of Cigars and Conversation? What made you, put this together, for people to be in the same room?
It started authentically. We have 3 young kids see me on social media smoke cigars.
Yeah.
All 3 of them reached out to me, hey, let's smoke a cigar. And
Nice.
I
Yeah.
don't have time to sit down with people one-on-one. One of the guys is friends with one of my agents. And my agent goes, Rich, I talk about you all the time. Can we have dinner? I'm like, yeah. He goes, can I bring a friend of mine? I'm like, for what? He goes, well, I talk about you, and he kind of wants, to meet you and kind of chop it up and have dinner. And I'm like, sure, whenever. That was in November 2022. December, 2 other guys reached out to me because, my social media is just personal. This is what I do. I smoke, I relax. And then in January, I was telling my wife off the cuff, hey, these guys want to, kind of cool. These guys want to meet me. I want to do something.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, have you met them? And I'm like, well, I don't have the time. And she goes, well, remember when you were younger and you were asking older guys to help you in business?
Yeah.
How difficult that was. I said, yes.
That's insightful.
Because the egos kick in. Yeah.
Oh, ego.
100%. Yeah.
Ego, all of
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I remember. She goes, do something. So I went back to the office in February. I told Joel, I'm like, hey, when can your guy do it? He works on the strip, so let's do it at, could he meet at 6? Text the other 2 guys. I'm like, hey, we're going to do this in March. Let's just see what happens. We're just going to have you guys come out. And they both work. So that's the reason it's 6 to 8.
Got it.
Because these 3 young kids work and they could make it at 6. And then I told them, I'm like, listen, if you're going to come, there's some guys that I want to see that I don't see.
Got it.
I'm going to just do a flyer and I posted it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then it started that evening and everybody was, people were showing up. I'm like, what the hell? What are these people here for? Right. And they're like, we wanted to just talk and relax. And some of the young kids were like, hey, we should do a private Facebook group and we need to do this and we need to do that. And I'm like, this is it. We're doing it tonight because I told you guys, and this is what I told my wife I'd do it once.
Yeah.
At the end of the evening, I've got a friend of mine who has amazing story. You should probably be on the podcast, right?
Okay,
Vietnamese
awesome.
immigrant.
Okay.
Chief marketing officer for Golf Digest for a decade.
Oh, awesome.
Went to Laird Superfood, took it public. Now he's the CMO for Berna, right? So he's like he spoke at Cornell and these top universities about entrepreneurship. And you've got this table, my buddy is smoking a cigar, and you've got 6 young guys just asking him questions.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I told myself, I'm going to do it again.
That's awesome.
I felt like I owed it to the guys who want to show up. And now it's grown to where it's some, from a bathroom attendant to a guy worth 9 figures.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's who.
That's the beautiful thing
they're
about it.
both there
Yeah.
to enjoy a cigar and to meet different people and just chat.
Yeah.
So it's evolved to where, it's more time consuming. However, the people that are showing up, I've had people fly in from Fresno, Arizona, Newport Beach for it.
I met some great people just there just for the last of it. And for our listeners, it's not for people to just, if you don't smoke a cigar, I don't even smoke cigars.
Yeah.
And I loved it, to be
2
able
parts.
to just,
cigars
Yeah.
and conversation.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Exactly.
You don't have to smoke, but if you're there and I had to make the rules, right?
What is the rule? Say the rule, because that's the funny part for our listeners.
Don't be a dick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of times
I
right
had Nikki
now,
laughing in the background.
a lot of times we're not taught how to how to show up, how to network.
Love
So
that.
a friend of mine, Natalie Young, who owns Eat Downtown, she used to have these fried chicken pop-ups.
Oh, I know. Okay, Natalie. Yeah. Yeah.
And I got the rules from Natalie.
Yeah.
And her number 1 rule was don't be a dick.
Yeah. I know Natalie. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then rule number 2 was introduce yourself to somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to show up and you want to meet people, don't talk to the same people
folks,
you know.
Yeah.
Don't be a salesperson.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens. Not here, not tonight.
Yeah.
Be authentic.
Yeah.
Right? And I think given those rules, it kind of lets everybody just relax. Right? I've had guys that own businesses now, but used to work in the service industry.
Yeah.
And they were like, 5 years ago, I would be setting up the tables or I'd be serving the food.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like I've arrived.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you kind of have, but you haven't introduced yourself to nobody.
Yeah. No.
So you've got to
But
kind
he's in the room.
You're
That's
in the
difference.
room,
You're in
right?
the room.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been some amazing,
Mm-hmm.
stories just from, the opportunities when Governor Lombardo was there,
Yeah.
right? Like when he walked in to talk to the group, his chief of staff was like, listen, he's only going to be there for 3 or 4 minutes. And he ended up almost an hour.
Yeah.
But the guys that were there, 3 young guys called me afterwards, right? This one, kid was like, I called my wife, right?
Yeah.
He goes, I went to school here. I never would have thought that the governor
Yeah.
would have given me any time,
Yeah.
right? And you're just like,
Yeah.
not that I see him often, but
Yeah.
as you grow in life, your experiences change,
Yeah.
but so do your
Yeah.
opportunities.
For sure.
But to have 3 young guys that called me, they're
That's
like,
powerful.
man,
Yeah.
all 3 called their partners.
Yeah.
And one dude was like, I would have never thought that the
Yeah.
governor of Nevada would have shaken my hand
Mm-hmm.
and spent time with me.
Yeah, Rich knows the folks. And the other piece you're missing too, people aren't taking pictures there either. Rich shuts all of that down. You there to enjoy yourself, and you've done a great job, man. It's been almost a year now, and you
Yeah.
started doing these once a month now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So is that the goal? Just 2024? We just keep it going?
We're keeping it going. Next
Okay.
one is next Thursday.
Okay. Yeah. Smart with Super Bowl coming up.
Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
it's the second Thursday of the month. It's just easy.
Oh,
Right?
second Thursday a month. Makes
Second
sense. Okay.
Thursday of the month. It's consistent.
Yeah.
We're going to have somebody from La Polina Cigars talk about
Okay.
different types of cigars. I don't drink wine.
Okay.
Cigars for some people are intimidating.
That's me all day.
Me
I
too.
drink wine, but I'll tell you, like Peter Cross, a friend of ours,
Mm-hmm.
always talking about smoking cigars. I don't like it, but eventually I'm gonna end up probably liking it because you smell it so much. You do the whole diet, relaxes you. So
Yeah. So it's cigars is a meditation for me.
yeah,
I know I'm going to sit down and just relax. I'm
Yeah.
not in a rush, and it allows me a period of time to ponder. Right, where
yeah,
I get to go through different scenarios as I smoke the cigar and
Yeah.
just think about
what's happening?
Pivots.
Yeah,
right,
Yeah.
like what is this? What is that? Who do I need to reach out to? So I know if I'm going to smoke a cigar, I'm going to set aside 1 to 3 hours.
that's awesome.
You know, as you continue to
Yeah.
grow this, right, and it continues to grow, it's just going to continue to get bigger and bigger, and more people are going to want to attend. How do you determine the venue space, or how do you determine, where's the threshold to keep that exclusivity a little bit, right, to make it more intimate? Or is it just, you're going to keep growing and expanding until it does hit 300, 400, 500 people at an event?
So I've got, I think it's going to grow, and there's going to be different levels, right? Right now I've got some older guys, and they're like, hey man, I really love the cigars, but I don't want some of these young bucks just asking questions. So there's going to be different levels, I believe, by the end of the year because of the social media posts. A private winery out of Argentina saw it.
Oh, you were sharing this when we talked on the
And
phone.
they
Yeah.
want to do an event
Yeah,
in May with us, right? So they're like, hey, if we're going to fly up, we want to bring some wine for your guests.
yeah,
I'm going to have it curated with cigars to go with the reds. And then the group is like, can we bring some of our guys out? Can we invite some of our people to sit, share, and talk about what Cigars and Conversation is, right? And it's just
yeah,
a community of collaboration and collision, right? So their thing is like, we could grow this. And I'm like, slow down. Let's just
take
it slow and organically. And we've kind of outgrown the front patio, Chris. So we might go downstairs
yeah,
where people get married, right? So you can see the green. Red Rock Country Club helps me out
beautiful.
tremendously,
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah,
right? So it could grow downstairs to be larger,
that's awesome.
right? And I just want people to be good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Right. I don't want it to be too much of one industry. I don't want it to be heavy in one way, and I don't want it to be too political. I don't want it to be too much real estate. I still want that eclectic group of people because my friends are extremely eclectic.
Yeah,
for them to come relax and kind of chat.
I'm so happy. We're so aligned on that side because Chris and I, we were going to first start off doing a real estate podcast.
Yeah.
That was what we originally was the original business plan. But like us, I mean, we're diverse, diverse personalities, diverse interests. And we just wanted to have people like yourself that are involved in so many different industries that you don't want to be put in one box.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And you can share what's really happening in Vegas and what's really growing Vegas behind the scenes, not
You
just the
never
strip.
know, how one thing is going to impact you, right? Just because you're in real estate doesn't mean you can't learn from a tech entrepreneur. Like
Exactly.
there's a lot of different avenues
Exactly.
you can learn from, and I think that's what's great about your endeavor and Paki, why we started the podcast. Very
100%.
impactful.
What's your perspective about work-life balance? Because I know you've done a lot, right? Your hands are involved in public speaking. I mean, you're doing a lot of different things.
I believe, in my opinion, it's a fallacy. I don't think you can ever have it. I believe that balance is found in the present and intentionality.
Okay.
My son last week asked me when I had to go work on Sunday. He goes, "Dad, you work a lot." I said, "I do." I said, "But I don't consider what I do work."
Okay.
And my son, who's 10, he was in the courtyard, looks at me, he goes, "So that's the secret?" I said, "What's the secret?" He goes, "If I find a job that I like, I'll never have to work." And I said, "Correct."
Yeah.
Right? And there is this, I try to shut the phone off, right? In my calendar, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturdays, Richie Rich time.
That's
That is
awesome.
my time to just relax.
Got it.
I try to schedule as much as possible with my wife, my kids. So when I do my business goals, I want, for the year, I take the legal pad and I divide it into 4.
Awesome.
All right. What are my wife and myself doing 2 times a year? What are we doing with the kids 2 times a year? What am I doing personally for myself 2 times a year? Right. I believe you cannot give from a cup that's half empty. I only give what overflows. So if I don't take care of myself, how am I going to be able to do all of the things I do? So I believe that the balance, I'd rather take 20 minutes with my son or my daughter that are focused than spend all day with them and be on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful.
To
You
be
do similar to myself. Yeah. That's how I do too. I mean, we pre-plan everything, date nights and the whole nine. It sounds stupid, but I mean, I had 2 phones and the whole nine. I'm putting it on the schedule, what we want to do. So I get it. I'm glad you said that.
My wife forgot something one day and I didn't attend. And my son's in the back seat and she had made a comment about me missing it. And Sebastian goes, "Mom, was it in Dan's calendar?"
That sounds like I'm always laughing in the background. That sounds like our kids. Yeah,
she goes up.
Yeah.
It wasn't, right? But it's the same thing when we go to the grocery store. It's the lessons I teach my kids. If it's not on the list, it doesn't exist.
That's what you sound like we have literally the same family.
Yeah, we're going to go
dynamic.
in there.
Yeah.
We're going into the grocery store
get it and
to
get out.
get something and get out.
sound just
right?
like me.
And if you go in there and you're just going to, same thing with life.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're going to go after, you're going to get exactly what life is going to give you.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? So I'm big on that mindset, the vision. What do I want? What do I want? How can I be helpful?
Yeah.
And my kids go. My son takes a pen out, just starts crossing it out. Dad, let's go. We got everything. Great, let's go.
You talked a little bit about obviously us being Vegas Circle, right? We talk about who's in your circle, who's mentoring you, the whole 9. You touched a little bit about that, right? About when you lost everything in 2006. Who's in your group now that's speaking into your life, and what is it that they're sharing with you to keep you kind of on the right path?
So I've got 2 or 3 guys that I run stuff by.
Okay.
One guy comes from a private equity global side.
Okay.
Right. One comes from just small conversations, food distributor. Right. Okay. One is a tech guy. Okay. Right. I don't have a lot of people in the real estate world,
they think completely different than you. I love it.
Yeah. I want them thinking completely different. And I just need nuggets, right? It's like if I go to a conference, if I get one piece that I can add, then it's been valuable.
I agree
right.
with you.
So, and it's just different thought patterns, right? Being in Vegas for so long, we get pigeonholed. And with dealing with the global private equity guy, what I've come to find out is that there's no reason why we can't do anything globally, right?
Big vision thinking. Yeah.
Right. It's big vision. Like why, we got our kids' passports last year. Let's go. We're going to go travel. I want you to be in a country where we can't speak the language, where you're going to be uncomfortable, where you're going to have to make adjustments, where you're going to have to talk to somebody and stutter and have a conversation.
I absolutely love you talking about this. This is literally what my wife and I did. We got our kids' passports when they were, I think my youngest was baby, not even 1 year old. Yeah. And we did it on purpose because I remember when we were both young, we've been together almost 20 years. It was a multimillionaire that taught me 20 years ago. He was like, when you have kids, don't buy them material stuff. Take them on experiences. Yeah. And I'll never forget him saying that. That was 20 years ago. And we do that now. It sometimes it can get expensive, but just getting that experience, like you just said, being in other countries, they grow. And you see them come back and they're like talking to their, the friends about Bahamas, or talking to them about this, or talking about Mexico, whatever it is. It's awesome. So I'm glad you're teaching people that and brought that up. I don't think anybody's brought that up before on the pod. So
you're welcome.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
There's your
man. I love
nugget.
it.
There's your nugget.
No, I love it, man. I
That's
love
one.
It. No, I love it.
Just one? Come
No,
on,
I
Chris.
love it. No, and I'm glad
I've had
you said
a couple
about,
like
no, it's bombs. You sound like when Brad Lee was dropping the bombs, man. I tell you, because it's great. You talk about nuggets, and I love that, and I think that's why we're so aligned. Is because I look at a lot of your stuff, and we go back and forth, and I've had this big concept of the shopping, kind of the shopping cart, right? Is like you go with what's good, what you can take out of it. You take home, just like you go to the grocery store, you don't grab everything in the grocery store. You grab what's good for you and your home and for you. And I like that we talk about with the nuggets. So what would you say, with us being a business podcast, what's one gem you leave our listeners with that they want to get in business for themselves? What would you share with them?
Business and life.
Okay.
Right? I believe that our limiting beliefs is our biggest obstacle. Right? Okay. So whatever business you're thinking about, I would say make it bigger. Don't let your imagination be your limitation in life and in business, right? And I've had periods where I've set the goals down and I'm like, well, I need to make this. And magically, that's exactly what I make.
Yep.
When I could have 10 times that.
Mm-hmm. Make yourself uncomfortable.
Make yourself uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Give yourself permission to be great, right? Yeah. Give yourself permission to live out loud. Have fun.
This is something.
Another one. That was for me.
Yeah.
I saw that one hit. I thought that one hit, Chris. I was waiting. We were going to make eye contact.
No, we did.
Love it. He's over here dropping gems for real. But I want to ask you this because I follow your social media.
Yeah.
Give us one gem. We always ask everybody about restaurants, and I know you know everybody. So, and I love you, a big foodie just like myself. Give us one gem of a restaurant or your favorite restaurant that you would recommend.
Can I give you several?
Yes, let's go.
Several.
Okay.
Berries.
We know we love them, man. Marco, Yassine, and Barry, awesome people.
Yep. Piero's.
That's another beautiful place. Yeah. Ricky, matter of fact, your friend Ricky is the one that referred us to Piero's.
Yep, Piero's.
Awesome. Yeah.
I love Michael Mina at the Bellagio.
Okay.
It is a elegant. I'm not super foodie, like I'm an Outback guy.
Okay.
But
so Chris love Outback. Yeah.
I love Outback.
And Outback's very good. Don't get it twisted.
Right?
Outback's great.
But that Michael Mina fine dining experience, it's beautiful. And I love Meraki.
Meraki? What is Meraki?
It's a Greek restaurant.
You've been Meraki before?
They have a few of them, don't they? The Meraki, they're like,
shout out to Jerry. Meraki.
Okay. I don't think anybody's mentioned Meraki before that I'm aware of. Yeah.
You have to go.
Okay.
It is the
I'm
best.
listening to you.
That's good.
I don't think I've been to Meraki before. Unless they
have one right down the street over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sahara?
No, the first one was Tropicana and Rainbow. Then they did Charleston and Fort Apache. Now they have Blue Diamond.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they have Stephanie.
I'm missing out. Okay.
Oh,
I like the food.
That's great.
Okay. Yeah.
It is.
I know you're a big Greek Mediterranean guy. Okay.
It is the best Greek in town. It's my daughter's favorite rice. I love everything about that food, about the owners. It's just, I
trust your judgment. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Barry's is awesome. I love them over there.
Yeah.
Been to the other restaurants, but the one you just mentioned, I have not been there, so I got to check that out for sure.
So he goes to the Hyatt. He's been to Barry's. He's been to Meraki's.
But you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. We still love the hole in the wall spots. I mean, we've been to a lot of the high end ones, but I'll tell you and I'll just say this. We can move on. But Calabash, if you like African food, it's way different from what you think. I brought my parents there. They absolutely love it. My dad's over here online, Facebook, doing the whole, writing the whole
review. Sahara, Charleston.
Hey, where's Calabash? Charleston and I forget the.
I think I drive by it all the time. Used to
I'm
be the
horrible.
vegan
I'm sorry. And Ule, I know Ule over the owner from Calabash. I apologize. I forgot what street she's on, but if you guys look up Calabash, it's awesome. So, what else are you focused on for 2024? I know you've been doing a lot of public speaking you did last year. What else are you focused on? I know you rebranded. Your hands are in a lot of different things. Cigars and Conversation.
Cigars and Conversation, personal safety. I'm really big into children.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
School, schools, I think we've got to fix our school district or businesses won't come. I believe that we as a community need to get involved in our political process. Yeah. Right? Like it's going to be real pivotal in the next 10 years as to what's going to happen. And I try to get off my soapbox on politics and I love both sides. Right? I think we need to get back to common sense.
I agree with
I've got great friends that are Democrats. I got great friends that are Republicans. And Cisco Aguilar, our Secretary of State. I mean, we just need common sense legislation. Yeah. Joe Rogan interviewed Naval. And Naval, Joe Rogan asked Naval, he goes, how do you model your life? And Naval goes, I believe there's 4 chapters. The first chapter is sacrifice for country, which is why I love countries that service is mandatory. He goes, the second chapter is for family and business, because that's a period in your life where you are running your business and you're helping your family grow. The third chapter is politics, where you give back to the community because you've gotten lessons from sacrificing for your country, building a business, and building a family. Then you go into politics. And after politics, the 4th chapter in someone's life should be philosophy. This is where mentorship comes in. This is where you get to give back to the community as a whole, where you're allowing the new leaders to take the reins. And I've sat back and I've thought about it. I'm like, nowadays we have people getting into politics without ever sacrificing for their country, making politics their family business, while they philosophize without never having lost or learned anything.
Interesting. Yeah. That's a strong. That's hard to end out on that, man. Rich, you dropped. I mean, absolute pleasure, man, to sit down with you, man. I think you're gonna be running for president down the road. We'll remember this interview down the road. But what's your social handles people can reach out to you at?
Rich_Robledo.
Okay. Well, you can check us out at thevegascircle.com. Keep your tabs on Rich Robledo, man. He's an amazing guy and doing some amazing things in Vegas, man. So appreciate you, man. Thanks for sitting down with us, man.